Hello everyone, Jesse Webb, TradersPro. Market conditions seem to be improving here a little bit, and we've moved from mildly bearish back to mildly bullish. So we're getting just these gradual steps moving in the right direction as far as the bullish direction, and so we're starting to see some continued strength here. We'll see how long that continues. We've got a Fed day today, so we could anticipate some volatility. They're expected to raise, I believe, 25 basis points again, and that should create some volatility. I would anticipate today. We've seen a lot of volatility on these days the last few months. We're seeing momentum moving back in the positive direction, starting to move this direction. We were down here and hold, and as we start to strengthen, we're moving to the upside. We're seeing that in both momentum. Breadth had moved back up a little bit as well. It was pretty low down there, 15, 16. So it is climbing, moving in the right direction. Another good solid bullish day or two is going to move that breadth back up considerably. And we're seeing sentiment that is kind of holding right here. It has remained pretty positive throughout this entire retracement. A couple things that we talked about yesterday. Two things that let's go over. Let's talk about this buy-sell ratio, because when we see this pattern here, we get a downtrend, we get this extreme level. Typically, we get a bounce, and then sometimes on this, not always, but we'll see a divergence where we do actually get, another sell-off, and price ends up moving a little bit lower. If not that, then at least some kind of a retracement, possibly a retest. So we're not out of the woods yet in terms of a good solid bullish condition, but we are extreme right here and working out of that extreme level, and we're getting, I think today's going to be interesting to set the market expectation going forward. Unfortunately, we deal with the Fed in terms of interest rates, and they definitely move the market because we have business and capital flow and money flow, and the cost of capital with interest rates is really what the Fed is doing and playing around with, and we just still have a little bit high inflation, and so rates are going to probably maintain here high for a little bit. So the market's got to just process all that information and be able to continue moving forward with a little bit of certainty. It's the uncertainty that kills the market. A couple things to look at here in terms of extreme levels. We've definitely bounced. Let's go to this is S&P 500. We bounce off these lows, working our way back up to this halfway point now. We'll see if we run into any resistance there. NASDAQ is interesting because NASDAQ has been the strength here. We're seeing tech stocks that have been the strongest in this last rally, and we've also seen volatility pull way off these extreme levels. So when we take volatility being lower, we take equities moving higher off of these lows, and then we also take bonds, which were extreme. The T-notes were actually a lot worse, but those are pulling back. We're seeing gold reverse now, and we're seeing crude oil rally. Just a lot of markets, a lot of shifting happening right here back towards equities, out of gold, out of bonds, at least in the last day or two. Whether that's going to be sustainable or not, it's always hard to tell. But we're in these locations in terms of extremes that we could definitely see some continuation to this rally. Also, we've been talking about this Dow strategy with the industrials. This is still sitting at 8, but we saw 4 or 5 bump from the sell back up to the hold. What that looks like is I believe might have been Pfizer. So Pfizer's just been getting pummeled here in this downtrend as it's bottoming out and then starting. Now you got the yellow gone from a solid downturn to a kind of a pause, hold, wait and see. And these are some locations where if you're looking for potential moves, you can always go to these hold signals and look to be able to see which ones are in there. So you've got a group that are building some momentum. Walmart, for example, has also been in this downturn. So now you're getting this momentum shift or a potential momentum shift back here. So these are the areas to start to build up that watch list and start to watch for entry or even possible early entry as as you've moved out of this sell zone and back into a potential new uptrending shift on some of these stocks. So interesting on the Dow right there. We talked about those yesterday, and one other thing to make note of is the computer technology sector has been just cranking here. It's been moving pretty strongly throughout the last week or two, and so that again, that we talked about that, the strength in tech. There's some really good names in here to be to go in and take a look at as well. The new buy list. We've got some nice looking patterns here, some good breakout patterns on tech. These kind of moves, when you get a 15-20% move on one day, typically need a little bit of time to pull back, but that's a pretty solid bar. Breaking out of this mess, this choppiness here is what we want to steer clear of, and we want to try and focus on the green trending moves. So the anticipation there, we'll see if it continues to that overall upside. That's why we allow a little bit of confirmation here. We're not interested in trying to pick this bottom or pick this bottom. We kind of want that to happen and then give us a little confirmation. That's the momentum trade. That's the trend following trade, and that's the strategy behind that and the methodology there. Some other nice stocks here. I think I saw some solar stocks that are moving pretty nicely. They might be down here in the group a little bit, but let's see. Actually, let me refresh this page for you, and we'll pull that back in this new buy and see what we've got. Bore drilling. So again, oil stocks, because crude is bouncing off of some lows and maybe heading back up, we may see some of these oil stocks continue to do well. Consumer, ELF, that's an interesting stock as well. Solar, here's a couple of solar. So First Solar had this uptrend retracement. That's a nice looking pattern. The uptrend, the counter trend back, and then a little confirmation move back here. Not a real solid confirmation. It's kind of an indecision bar, but nonetheless moving in that direction, and a stronger market may send those a little higher. There was one other one. What was this one here? MAXN. So a good solid rally on a couple of solar stocks there as well. If you don't have full access to the site and software, you can sign up with the link below, and we look forward to having you. Have a great day today.